Now, there are actually kids, people, there's a gene for whether you're a bitter taster or not. I am a bitter taster too. And I do happen to like kale, and I eat it every day, and broccoli and so on. But my body is used to it. But you take a little kid who has a bitter taster gene, and you have him eat Brussels sprouts, and he won't eat it. So what's the answer for the bitter taster gene? You have them put olive oil, or they usually tend to eat a lot of salt because they're trying to cover it up, or a little pat of butter if that's okay with them, on top of their broccoli. That'll help the bitter taster. Or like Brussels sprouts are really, they're very bitter, I think. And so I always cook them with a little bit of Lakanto, the sugar that we've been promoting for quite a few years right now that comes from Japan, called Lakanto. It's just delicious to sprinkle a little bit of that right on top of these, on the Brussels sprouts. Or you could put a little bit of balsamic vinegar to give them a sweet taste, but not like an unhealthy sweet taste, like you wouldn't pour sugar on it. But then there is something called the sweet taste gene. There's actually several of them. So can you imagine a little kid being in this world, and he's born, and you test his genes, and you find out, oh my gosh, my son has a sweet taste gene. And that means that kid is going to be looking for sugar every single chance that he can get. Do you give him an ice cream in the summer? Or do you say, no, I think I'm going to feed him some fermented vegetables because then he won't grow up wanting sugar? That's what the sour foods do. Sour fermented vegetables take away your desire for sugar. I believe that if we began our children, as we have been doing for some time now, we've been growing beautiful, healthy babies, and their moms give them something fermented right after they're born, like the juice of the fermented coconut kefir. They never want sugar, ever. They can go to a birthday party and everybody can be eating cake, and they don't want it. So this is a really important thing to understand. Gluten intolerance, celiac, yes, truly, about 1% of us really do have a genetic problem. The rest of us don't. But the gluten in this country is awful quality. It's been ruined, basically. In the 50s, they wanted to feed a lot of people, so they hybridized it and changed it, and it's a bad food. Also, gluten comes in the form of flour, and flour is an awful thing to put into your gut. I never eat flour because I know what it does to the gut. I know how it's gooey and gummy, and it gums up the whole digestive tract. Just the opposite of fermented foods. Now, I had a real interesting thing happen because I was with a friend at a conference. A whole bunch of health experts were gathered together at a place, a Mindshare conference that J.J. Virgin put on. And Pedram went rushing by me at lunchtime, and I said, hey, Pedram, are you going to have are you going to eat? And he said, no, I've got to get to my room because my mother-in-law just ate some bread and it had gluten, and she's going to get really, really sick. Do you know anything I can do? And I said, well, you could give her some digestive enzymes. I already did that. And I said, well, I happen to have a jar of cultured vegetables in the refrigerator in my room. You want me to have somebody bring them to your mom? And he said, yes. And do you know that I saw him about 5 or 6 o'clock that day, and he was out walking his dog in the golf course, and I said, how did it go? And he said, she never had a single reaction to that gluten, and she was absolutely thrilled. And this is somebody who really got sick from gluten. So once again, fermented foods are important.